Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I have a first impressions video for you on two particular manga releases that came out somewhat recently, and they couldn't be further apart from each other, but in my dumb brain I thought it would be pretty funny to pair the two of them together. One is The Demons Are Planning Something Good, Volume 1, and the second one is Farewell Daisy, a Jun Mayuzuki short story collection. But before we get started, as always, let me remind you that you can find me on your favorite social media platform. Just search for Manga GEEKDOM, or if you'd like, you can always support the channel by liking, commenting, sharing the video, becoming a channel member, or if you'd like to keep the conversation going, you can always join my Discord server. The link is in the description below. So with that out of the way, let's get started with the video. Alright, so the first book that we're going to talk about is The Demons Are Planning Something Good. This is the first volume published by Yen Press with original story by Takuji Kato and art by Gashi Gashi. This is a pretty fun, nonsensical book. It's mostly episodic in nature. Essentially, you are following the underlings that work for the Demon Lord in their castle realm and how they're trying to develop new ways to capture the good guys and put them through hell with new tools, dungeons, traps, and stuff like that. And a lot of the humor comes from the fact that they are quite inept in their designs and how they quickly turn into like not safe for work gag humor. There is a lot of raunchy, etchy jokes sprinkled throughout. Nothing too egregious, but it's still quirky and funny enough that you want to follow along with this silly cast of characters. They're the bad guys, but they're so goofy that you don't really seem to care, right? One character in particular that we follow is the Demon Lord Army's Development Bureau Director. His full name is Lord Mercy Snape Zez Siu Gathnum. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but he just goes by Lord Mercy Snare. He is described as the Grim Reaper of Mercy, and he's always trying to come up with all the evil schemes that aren't that evil and mostly turned into like weird fetishes. Like one of his first examples in the book is making slime that melts only clothing. So you can imagine how that leads into etchy scenarios and quick laughs. So it's very slapsticky in nature. We also follow different henchmen. One of them happened to be a succubus who is posing as an imp, which I thought had a pretty interesting backstory. She didn't really fit the mold of a succubi and couldn't perform like the other succubus in her class, so she was always an outcast. So now that she's working for Mercy Snare, she can be more of herself and express who she really is. So even through the etchy lens, the story can find some fun moments to highlight the diversity in characters and to highlight the progression that you might have even when you've been set back by previous trauma in your life and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. The art in this is pretty simple. It's mostly relying on the gag comedy element, but I do like the character designs. Everybody is pretty unique, all the different monster creatures and the different heroes that walk in to try and defeat these bad guys but fail to do so. Two other characters that do show up for a good chunk of the later part of the book are the Demon Lord Army brainwashing department monsters. One of them is Hypno Eye and the other is Meta Mowworm. These are weird names to pronounce, but you get the picture. They're pretty silly and goofy, sort of your classic duo henchmen, and they are slightly perverted in their actions when coming up with traps and scenarios to ensnare the heroes. It's all pretty crazy, and it might not be for everybody, but I wanted to check it out, see what all the fuzz was about. So if that is up your alley, then consider getting this book. I think it won't be for everyone, but if you're in the mood for some silly goofs and gaffs, then Demons Are Planning Something Good might fill that gap. Now, this next book is completely different in tone, style, delivery, whatever you want to say about it. This is Farewell Daisy, a Jun Mayuzuki collection published by Yen Press. It is not safe for work, so I'm censoring a lot of panels from this. Apologies. This is a short story collection that Mayuzuki did from 2007 to 2017. There are a couple of short stories here that are pretty impactful, silly at times, but mostly true to herself as an author and a woman. I was very interested to check it out. Her other main work that a lot of people know her from is Kowloon Generic Romance, and that is a fantastic series and made me a fan of the author, so I wanted to check out her short stories. Now, I do apologize. A lot of you probably clicked on this video expecting the farewell review. Instead, you got the opening act with Demons Are Planning Something Good, but my dumb, silly brain thought it would be pretty funny to pair two Yen Press releases that are opposite of each other in one first impressions video. So yeah, long story short, here we are with Farewell Daisy. This short story collection has a lot to say, and I feel like I may not be the most adequate at it, but I'll try my best to give you what I thought of these stories. The majority of the stories here are very raw and honest in the way that Mayuzuki draws these characters, these women that are dealing with insecurities, self-worth issues, obviously brought upon by society, the way that certain things are enforced, how certain characters have to navigate through romance and understanding. Other characters are dealing with embarrassing topics like sexual satisfaction. Other characters are dealing with their social anxiety and how they want to express their love and admiration, and how it can come off as comical or stalker-ish with their obsession over the opposite sex, and how they try to get that message across and the different shenanigans that happen. So there is a little bit of comedy, there's some drama, there's some sexy time, there's a little bit of everything, and I appreciate that. I thought it was a fantastic story collection. Each character is presented in a very honest way, and that is sorely needed in a world that is so divided, with people not understanding each other. Empathy has been lost these days, and it sort of feels, and I hate to say it, like we're on different planets. So reading fictional characters going through these things can help other people understand that just because you have it figured out doesn't mean that the other person has. And the stuff that they're going through isn't something to be embarrassed about, and it's something that thousands of people out there in the world are dealing with. One of the main things that I found really interesting was finding sort of that self-worth, whether it's through one of the women that has not been fulfilled sexually throughout her life, while also being an author and writing about human sexual relationships, sort of facing what she's presenting in public versus her insecurities and her problems in her private life, and finding the right partner to make that happen, to another character that is transgender, which surprised me and was a welcome story arc of having this couple where you have this man that falls in love with this woman, not knowing her backstory. His surprise when it happens does play out as you would expect, but the twist of them finding common ground and friendship and potential love was wonderful to see and really wholesome. I think that was my favorite of the stories presented here. Very rarely do you see these topics explored in comics in general, so it's always great to have female perspective presented by an actual female writer and not just a guy out there writing about female characters and issues. One character in particular has this relationship fling with this guy, but she's not really sure if it is meant to be. It was sort of a thing that just occurred. Love isn't truly there, and he's not the best partner. And at her work, when she leaves, she spots an older woman who is standing by the curbside, and she's talking with this guy. So she's not really a prostitute, but she is letting people see her that way to judge how much she's worth. as a person, as a woman, and sort of validating what she thinks of herself, which surprises the main character, and how she views her relationship and does a comparison between the two things. There's another story of a girl that is in an odd relationship with this other guy, and she's more worried about being a content creator or an influencer, and how that perception of what you put out there in the world can impact your self-esteem and your self-worth as an individual, compared to how you really feel when it doesn't involve creating content for other people to consume, instead of worrying about consuming your own life, if that makes sense. And there are other simpler stories that take a sort of a fairy tale aspect towards the end with Farewell Daisy. So honestly, it's a well-rounded story collection with a little bit of everything. I do recommend checking it out. It is an exceptional job from a wonderful mangaka. Alright, so there you go, 2 more first impressions / overviews for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, comment down below. What are some of your favorite short story collections? I'm interested in finding out, as well as some of your favorite slapstick humor or ecchi type stories. I'm interested in that as well. That is going to be it. Thank you once again. God bless, stay safe out there. I will catch all of you on the next one.